Hello and welcome back to the NFL Quick Talk podcast. As always, you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Subscribe and follow. We'll be getting back into the predictions and breakdowns. We did the whole NFC, the East, South, North, and West. If you didn't watch those, I would recommend you go see those as well to kind of get a feel of how we do things here on the channel. And we will be starting off in the AFC East, one of the toughest divisions in football. Just a quick note on these predictions. I'm keeping them at 15 minutes or under, so I can't explain every single position ranking or game predicted. So I can help you guys out in the comments with what I think, but, I'm trying to keep things under 15 minutes or under. That being said, let's get started here. And we will start with the New England Patriots. I have their roster overall at a B-. I think running back Ramondre Stevenson is a bit overrated, in my opinion. I think he would be great in a complimentary role, coming off the bench or having someone spell him for second and third down after getting a solid rush on first, stuff like that. I think him being an every down back is going to hurt him more than it will help him. The coaching, obviously, with Bill Belichick, great, but especially now that they have a actual offensive coordinator that they got from Alabama. But Bill Belichick really has to prove it this season, in my opinion, in order to keep going and not rebuilding. I think this is a pivotal year for the Pats because if they go down and have a terrible season, they won't be able to compete in the coming years because they just won't have really the talent. And if they can have a good year, they can bring in better free agents, stuff like that, next offseason. So really a lot of pressure on Bill Belichick here. Slight upgrade at receiver with Juju Smith-Schuster, Super Bowl winner with the Chiefs. But the wide receiver core is still very average. Got guys like Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry. It isn't really moving the needle all that much. The D-line with prolific edge rusher Matt Judon should perform relatively well in the season. And the secondary will probably take a step down from last season after performing very well last season. Moving on to the Patriots schedule, in week 1, you play versus Philadelphia. You lose versus Miami. The next week, you get your first win here at the Jets. You lose at Dallas, and versus the Saints, you lose. You're on a 3-game losing streak here. You're going to get out of it by playing at the Raiders. I think you win here. Then you're going to go on a bit of a cold streak again, playing at home versus Buffalo, at the Dolphins, and then versus Washington Commanders. I think you lose all 3 of these games. Then in Germany, you play the Indianapolis Colts. I think you win this one as well, going into the bye week 3 and 7. Coming out of the bye week, you're going to get a little momentum. Playing at the Giants, you're going to win this game. Versus the Chargers, I think this is a losable game, but you win this game. On a short week, going to the Steelers, I think you lose this game. Versus the Kansas City Chiefs, you lose this game. At Denver, you lose as well. And then at Buffalo, you lose going into your final week of the season. Versus the Jets, I think you win here to go 6-11 on the season. And moving on from the New England Patriots, we will travel down south to the Miami Dolphins. I have their overall roster at a B+. And this season's success or failures all depend on their quarterback Tua Tagovailoa's health. Last season, he was concussed. The season was kind of a throwaway because he was out for at least half the games, probably even more. I can't remember off the top of my head. But if he can stay healthy, they could perform as well as take the division. But if he's out as consistently as he was last season, they'll be in contention with the Patriots for cellar dweller status. And the running backs are just very fast in general, but they don't really have the guy to grind out the tough yards. And that's kind of key playing in the AFC East, because you're going to play teams in December and January when it's cold and snowing out, like the New England Patriots, like the Buffalo Bills, and you're going to need guys that are going to churn out the tough yards. And you really need guys that can do that. I don't really see that with his running back room. They have a ton of explosiveness with guys like Devon Achane and others. But I feel like if they could get someone in free agency that would really help out with that, or a trade or something like that, I think that could really help. The receivers are elite with guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I really don't have much to say past that. They're really elite. I mean, the two fastest players in the game by far. The defensive line is excellent with players like Bradley Chubb coming off the edge, alongside players like Christian Wilkins busting up the middle. The secondary lost a vital piece of the puzzle after losing Jalen Ramsey to a long-term injury. It looks like he won't be back till like January after Christmas, something like that. And it will be really tough to replace his all-pro caliber talent, and I think the secondary falls a little bit with that. And I think the team as a whole falls for that. I know when this news came out, I was on the AFC, and I was predicting the AFC East up in like next, and it really changed my mind on where I thought the Dolphins were going to be. I thought that the Dolphins could have 11 to 12, maybe even 13 wins with the Jalen Ramsey on the roster. But as you'll see in a minute here when we go over to the schedule, I don't think that way anymore because losing Jalen Ramsey is just that tough. Moving on to said schedule, we have the Dolphins. They will open up at the Chargers. I think this is going to be a very interesting game to watch. I think the two teams match up really well. They will be playing at the Chargers. I think that atmosphere in LA will help with a loss here. And they will play the Patriots on Sunday night at the Patriots. I think they will lose this game. Detailed that a little bit earlier. They will play at home versus the Broncos in Week 3. I think they win this game, winning their first game of the season on the first home game of the season. Go to Buffalo. I think you lose this game versus the Giants. I think you win this game as well. At the Panthers, I think you also win here. A little bit lighter schedule going in here. You play at the Eagles on Sunday night, though. I think that's a loss. I think the Eagles will be too good of a team. Versus the Patriots, I think you win here. And you go to the Chiefs. This is honestly a bit of a rough stretch in through here. I think you lose this game as well. Going into the bye week, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 and 5. Excuse me. Week 10 bye week. Coming off of the bye week, you get a little bit of a momentum. You stay at home. You play the Raiders. You win here. You go to the Jets. I think that this game. I know that it's early on in the schedule, but I think this game really depends on whether they make the playoffs or not. Going to East Rutherford, but I think you lose this game. I think that the Dolphins could definitely win this game, but I just have them losing here. At the Commanders, going to Washington, I see the Commanders winning this game. And versus the Titans on Monday night, you win this game as well. Versus the Jets, I think you win as well. Versus the Cowboys, you lose here. At the Ravens, the Dolphins could definitely beat the Ravens, but I have the Ravens losing. Home field advantage really helps there. Ending the season versus the Bills with a W to end the season 9-8. Moving on to the New York Jets, I have their overall roster at a B+. The addition of Aaron Rodgers is going to help a ton. They had terrible quarterback play last season from Mike White and Zach Wilson. Consistent quarterback play should really help the offense. Receivers, outside of Garrett Wilson, it's really thin. You got guys like Randall Cobb, kind of washed, kind of old. And, they lost long guys that have been there for a long time, guys like Braxton Berrios. But the 1-2 punch of newly acquired Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, the incumbent running back, will be a very good duo this year. It'll take a lot of the load off of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to make the hero play every play, and he can hand the ball off to two stud running backs. It's going to be really fun for Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't really even have to pass all that much. He can just hand the ball off to these great running backs. The the offensive line will be the biggest issue on this team. It's already been well documented by the media, the bigger sports media. So I won't go into it too long. But in training camp, in preseason, it looked terrible as a unit. and Aaron Rodgers is best standing upright, not being dragged into the turf by like a 250-pound edge rusher. So they really got to find a way to fix that. Be it just better coaching, a outside player coming in and helping out. They really got to figure out something to do there with those guys, because they really couldn't block in the preseason. The linebackers are okay. They're not great, but the secondary on the flip side is in my opinion one of the best secondaries, top 3 secondary in the whole league. Guys like Sauce Gardner leading the way there, and others. Moving on to the schedule for the Jets, you open up week 1 versus Buffalo Monday night. I think you win this game. Statement win at Dallas. I think you get a bit of a hangover from that Monday night game. You lose this game. You come home, play the Patriots. I think you win here. You will stay at home, play the Chiefs. I think you lose. Going to Denver to play the Broncos, I think you win. Versus Philadelphia, the Eagles, I think you lose this game, bit outmatched. You go 3-3 into the bye week. Week 8, you play at New York, the Giants. I think you win this game, although they're playing in their home field, so it shouldn't be too hard to get fans in there. Versus the Chargers on Monday night next week, I think you win as well. At the Raiders, I think this is going to be a bit of a tough matchup for the Raiders. I think you lose this game. At Buffalo, I think you lose as well. Versus the Miami Dolphins, I think you win here. Week 13 versus the Falcons, I think you win. Week 14, you keep rolling with the wins versus Houston. Going to Miami, you're going to split the season series here. I think you lose this game. Here versus the Commanders, I think you win. On a short night at Cleveland on a Thursday night, week 17, I still think you win this game. I don't think Cleveland's going to be quite as good as people are saying that they'll be by this time. At the Patriots in week 18, you lose this game, but you still finish the season with double-digit wins at 10-7. We'll be moving on now to the Buffalo Bills. I have their overall roster to B+. Their coaching and quarterback are both excellent. The running back room is a little bit of a concern for me. James Cook isn't really the type to be an every down back. Or be the lead back for that matter. I think that they really missed an opportunity to gain some ground and get a running back in the offseason, but they didn't. The receivers are borderline great with Stephon Diggs, perennial All-Pro, Pro Bowler. The offensive line is okay, kind of the same as last season. Guys like Deion Dawkins are really good. Defensive line is pretty good as well. The secondary is good. I think that they're going to maintain more of the same as last season, which was above average. All right, going through the Bills' schedule, rapid fire at the Jets Monday night. You lose this game versus the Raiders. You win this game at Washington. You win versus Miami. You win versus Jacksonville in London. You win. You're on a really hot streak here. Versus the Giants at the Patriots. Versus the Bucks. All wins. Going to suffer your first loss at the hands of the Bengals. In week 9, you lose here. Versus Denver, you lose here. Versus the Jets, you win. At the Philadelphia Eagles, you win as well going into your bye week. After the bye week, you play at Kansas City, you win. You get that extra bye week to prepare. This game could go either way. Versus Dallas, you lose. At the Chargers, you lose. Versus New England, you win. At Miami, you lose to finish the season 11-6. So there you have it, the AFC East. The Patriots coming in last, 6-11, B- overall roster. The Dolphins, 9-8, B+ roster. The Jets, 10-7, B+ roster. And the Bills win the division with a record of 11-6 with a B+ roster. Thank you guys so much for sticking all the way through to the end. It means a lot if you could subscribe to the channel and follow us on Spotify as well. We have the rest, the final 3 divisions coming out, and then I will have the playoff scenarios that I have coming out as well. The NFL season's coming up really fast. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. As always, stay locked in here for the rest of the videos. Subscribe, and I will see you guys on the flip side.